What is going on, guys? We got a new package in. This is from my friend Tony over at TK1 Racing. We're finally doing a sway bar on the FJ40. Let's open this thing up and let's check it out. I am so excited for this. I've been working with him to get this sway bar out for a bit now. Finally got it. I'm so excited to get this on. It's the last thing we really need to do to the FJ, and I think it's just going to complete the suspension on it because we've been fighting, like you guys know, been fighting some body roll, which is honestly a common problem with having coilovers front and rear. With this setup, you got to have super light spring rates. I mean, imagine a 16-inch travel coilover. You got to basically, our setup is 5 to 6 inches of up travel. So that means we need to collapse that shock 10 inches. Naturally, you're going to have super light spring rates. So having that front and rear, it just adds some body roll. So this is going to fix all of our body roll issues. Looks like we got some spacers here for the end caps, some bolts. Let's grab a knife, let's open this thing up. Well, there it is, guys. This is a TK1 Racing dual shear sway bar setup. So this is a 45-inch. Hopefully, we don't have to do too much cutting on the FJ to get it to fit. But basically, we have to run this tube, and these are some universal mounts for it. But I think I may have to make my own just because of where we got to mount it on there. But either way, we got that. The tube, this smaller tube here is for the end links down to the axle. There's the main sway bar. Here's the bars. These here actually are what's splined into the shaft, and then these pieces bolt on to there like that. And then obviously the end links go into here. So I'm excited. All this stuff looks really nice. This is all billet aluminum. These arms aluminum as well. Sway bar obviously is steel, some sort of, I don't even know what type of steel these sway bars are made out of. But either way, looking good. We got to get this thing on the lift. We got to fit the sway bar somewhere through here. This main support right here may need to move because the sway bar, I think, is going to have to go right through that area. So we may have to cut this out, do a little extra tube work to move this back, maybe tie it into this tube down here. I'm not really sure, but that may need to move because that's the only spot. I mean, there's this other frame out back here. We got our bump stops back here. There's nowhere to put it on the back of the axle. We're going to have to go in the front. And like I said, there's no room at all for a sway bar up front. I mean, we got the steering box here, we got the panhard, we got the bump stops there. There is absolutely no room for a sway bar up front. So we're gonna have to throw it in the back. I'm excited. I'm thinking this is going to make the FJ handle like a dream. So there's a few things to keep in mind when we're setting up this sway bar. One major thing you want to do is keep this arm level when the shock is roughly at 50% of its travel. So this is a 16-inch shock. We're going to jack this thing up till we get 8 inches of the shock shaft showing. And then, like I said, you want the sway bar arms level to the ground at that position. And then another thing, as the 3 or 4 link suspension goes through its travel, it does swing from side to side, especially when you're flexing. You want to try to mount the axle side end links wider than the actual sway bar. That way you're not hitting the frame or anything when the axle swings. And then the obvious stuff, make sure it's not going to contact the frame or the coilover or anything while it's flexing or, you know, the axle moving up and down. Obviously, we want it to clear everything. All right, we got everything cut out of the way. I just had to trim the body here, and then I just had to cut off one of the exhaust mounts. We'll just have to relocate it. But we're sitting at 50% of shock travel, so this arm should be flat going from there to the coilover, we got about 3/4 inch of clearance, and obviously as the shock moves up, it kind of moves back, judging by the orientation of these links, and then as it moves down, obviously the sway bar moves away from the coilover. We're gonna have plenty of clearance there. So what I'm gonna do next is cut all this other crap off that we don't need, this tube there, that plate on the frame. I'm gonna make my new mount basically right here. So it's gonna come on the frame, off, up, over the tube, and just have a hole through the plate. We'll weld that, weld it on the frame. We'll be good to go. And then we just have to find a spot for tabs on the axle. Obviously, like I said, you want them wider than the sway bar. So we may have to go on our top link mount. If we go on the axle tube here, I think that's gonna be narrower, but we'll figure that all out once we get the sway bar itself mounted into the frame. Well guys, we are all together, looking good, seems to be working good, everything clears, I'm happy with it. One last thing we gotta do, take it all back apart, we gotta weld the tube and the mount together, and then obviously onto the frame and all that. Give it some paint, powder coat or paint these yet, I haven't decided about the end links yet, but either way, we got that all welded in. This is looking good. I am so freaking stoked to try this out. I think it's gonna help so much with body roll, and this style of sway bar for these off-road rigs, they still flex. It shouldn't hurt our flex at all. It's all in the rate of the actual sway bar. So I don't know, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Let's tear it apart, get everything welded in, painted in, and then, oh yeah, we completely forgot. We still got to run a tube from this bracket for the roll cage down to I'll probably just go to here and just make it simple. Well, we're all back together other than end links. So we got those in the sandblaster over here. We got those blasted. We got to powder coat them. One thing I want to do, I know you guys are probably going to laugh at me. I don't like the silver on these rings on the bead locks. I thought I would like it when I powder coated them. I don't know. Looking back at pictures, well, ever since I did it, I've been kind of iffy about it. And just looking back at old pictures, I like the black better. It kind of sucks. We got to go strip these things, but we're going to redo them. I want to do these in black. So we're going to get these back off. While we're already powder coating those, I figured we're going to do these as well. So we're going to rip all these off. All 4 wheels, obviously. We're going to bring those to my brother Devin's. He's got a powder coat strip tank, so we'll just dip those in. It takes like 5 minutes, completely strip that powder coat. If you've ever tried to sandblast powder coat, you know it is not fun. Well, we're all done powder coating. This stuff looks awesome. Like always, this is the stone black from Prismatic Powders. These are going to match the wheels. The wheels are already kind of a matte black color, so that's what I wanted to kind of match. And while we already got that out, might as well do the end links with it too. So it's just a nice like neutral matte black color. I use it on a ton of stuff. If you guys want to check this stuff out, head over to prismaticpowders.com. I'll also drop a link down in the description box. First impression on the sway bar. We're gonna pull our rip through the field here. Oh wow. Wow, that made a huge difference. I can actually turn without falling over. Imagine that. That is way better. And the good thing is with these sway bars, obviously up and down, it doesn't like screw with the suspension at all, with the spring rates. It only helps with, you know, swaying. We got to get this thing up on a stump or something, make sure it still flexes like it did. I assume it will. That's kind of how these are designed. These sway bars for the rock crawlers, they're not stiff enough to where it doesn't flex, but there's enough there to help with the, you know, the body roll. So let's find a stump, let's get this thing up and see. I assume it's going to help for that too, because what happened before, here, let me turn this thing off, it's loud. So what happened before, I was come up to a stump, get my tire kind of just starting to go up onto the stump, and the rear end would just dive and just squat way down, and it made you feel like you're gonna roll over just trying to flex on a little stump or a little rock. The sway bar should make it feel a lot more stable for that as well. So let's go find a stump over here, and let's just see what happens when we do a little flex on it. All right, going up now. Oh my gosh, that feels way better. Before, the body would just, you'd get up going up the stump and the body would just want to, you just feel like it's flipping over. Right now, the body feels flat. Well guys, safe to say it still flexes. That is, well, the front's almost flexed completely. Let's see, the shock is just about bottomed out. There's another inch maybe. This side, strap is tight. Rear, it's still got some ways to go. The rear obviously has more flex than the front, but you can see the sway bar's doing its job. Still allowing it to flex like a champ, and the biggest thing is it felt so much better going up on that stump. Like I said before, it would kind of want to roll over. Right now it just feels so planted, so stable, so freaking good. I love it. It's so much better. Well, so far this thing's an absolute freaking game changer. Let's go down the road now. One thing I did notice with before I did the sway bar, if I was stopped at a corner and I would start on like a corner and turn, this thing was like just squat down and lift up and just feel all sorts of weird. I think that's going to be solved as well. Let's see going into this corner how it feels. Oh yeah. Barely wants to roll at all. It feels so much better. It actually feels safe to drive. Alright guys, we're cruising. This thing feels so much more stable. Going corners, just cruising straight, hitting bumps. It feels so much more locked into the road, just more stable, it feels safe. Alright guys, this is the corner before, kind of turning from a stop, going uphill. It felt like it was just gonna roll over. Let's see what it does now. Oh my gosh, that is way better. That is so much freaking better. Well, that sway bar just turned this FJ40 from a sloppy, floppy feeling freaking turd to something that actually feels safe and comfortable to drive. When I flex, like I said, oh my gosh, it feels so much more safe. I can't tell you guys enough how much the body used to just roll when you're trying to get that front tire up. Now the body almost stays level and it feels so much better. That sway bar definitely made this rig. So I'm so freaking stoked with it. So if you guys are in a similar situation with body roll, trying to fight body roll, go check out TK1 Racing. It's one of the more affordable sway bars. They are freaking amazing. They look good, they work good. There's so many different options with them. Go check them out at tk1racing.com. And also, guys, the wheels, they look, I tried liking the silver. I tried as hard as I could to like the silver bead locks. I couldn't get on board with it. I think the black, I mean, just take a look at that. It looks so much better. Well, anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed it. Why don't you go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.